Good morning, Binlipen students, and happy Veterans Day. My name is Mary Ellen Bohlman, and I am a junior here at Binlipen. Today's chapel is going to look a little bit different because our goal is going to be to honor the veterans who have sacrificed everything for us. You may be wondering why I'm doing chapel because I'm not Mr. Burnett, but I'm here to welcome our speaker for today. This person is very special to me because not only is he a veteran, but he is also my dad, who is like super crazy cool. He is a lieutenant colonel and a chaplain in the Georgia Air National Guard and has been serving in our Air Force for over 25 years. We are going to watch a short video to tribute our veterans in just a little bit, and I really hope that you guys enjoy and have a great day. Happy Veterans Day.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of those officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God.
We celebrate Veterans Day on the anniversary of the armistice that ended World War I. The armistice that began on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The timing of this holiday is quite deliberate in terms of historical fact. But somehow it always seems quite fitting to me that this day comes deep in autumn when the colors are muted and the days seem to invite contemplation. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise, but most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up two lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. And all we can do is remember. I will not fail thee nor forsake thee. In memory of those who gave the last full measure of devotion, may our efforts to achieve lasting peace gain strength. Let us make a vow to our dead. Let us show them by our actions that we understand what they died for. Strengthened by their courage, heartened by their value, and borne by their memory, let us continue to stand for the ideals for which they lived and died.
In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. We shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
Hello, Ben Lippin. It's good to be with you. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate the opportunity to speak on this video today for your chapel service. I know it's Veterans Day, and I wish I could have done this in person, but due to the coronavirus and social distancing, a lot of people are doing this over Zoom and recording these videos. My name is Brian Bohlman. I'm a chaplain in the Georgia Air National Guard. I'm also the proud father of Mary Ellen, who's an 11th grader there at Ben Lippin. And I just want to tell you first off that my wife Shelley and I are very grateful to the Ben Lippin community for the support that they've provided whenever I've had to travel away from this area on overseas trips and different training opportunities away from South Carolina. You guys have always been there to support Mary Ellen in her studies and to support our family, so I appreciate that. I also want to let you know I have a close connection with your campus. I was a graduate of CIU a long time ago, and I currently teach at CIU as an online professor in the area of chaplaincy. And so I want to talk to you just briefly about a few things. First of all, I'm going to talk about Operation Thank You. Operation Thank You is a nonprofit that Shelley and I started in 2002. And I think last year, or maybe it was the year prior, y'all had a chance to fill out these thank you cards, and you'll get to do that again this week. But Shelley and I started Operation Thank You as a nonprofit because we had one mission, and that mission was to inspire America's bravest men and women who serve in the armed forces. And we do that through the 7 different thank you cards that we have. The one that you'll be filling out today is the Honored Veteran Thank You card. And let me tell you, a lot of the people who get these cards will save them and pass them on to their grandsons. And so what you write today on one of these thank you cards could be read in 50 years from now. Just think about that, the impact that you can have on someone who has served our country. So let me get right into it, and we'll start with this first slide. This was a drawing by a child that I found a number of years ago. Take a minute and look at this drawing that you see on the screen. Think about what inspired this child to draw it. You know, as this child grows up, one must wonder if they will volunteer and become a member of the U.S. Armed Forces. I think it's important for all of us to remember that every generation of Americans has answered the call to serve. And today, there may be some students that are listening and watching this video who may be who may be called to join the military in the future. It's my prayer that young men and women would consider the military and the military service as a high and honorable calling from God. I certainly did back in 1991 when I joined the military. Looking back some 29 years later, I can clearly see God's hand at work behind the scenes that directed my steps when I enlisted in 1992 to becoming a commissioned officer in 1997, and now serving as the Senior Air National Guard Chaplain in the state of Georgia. You know, it's amazing what God can do when you say, as the prophet Isaiah said, "Here am I, send me." And I also want to encourage any student at Ben Lippen, if you're interested in learning more about the military or joining the military, whether or not it's the Air Force or any other branch, please reach out to me. I would love to be able to help you. God put several people in my life when I was thinking about military service, and they helped explain things to me and point me in the right direction. And so I would just say this is a God moment, and please reach out if I can be of service to you and help guide you as you're exploring options after high school and even college. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about 4 characteristics of our military veterans. To begin, I want to give you a few statistics that will help define the challenges that our veterans are facing today. As you know, our military shoulders a unique burden of stress and sacrifice. However, did you know that 16.6 million veterans have served during wartime, and 3.6 million veterans have a service-related disability? Another 2.5 million service members served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and almost 1 million have served on multiple deployments. Since September 11, 2001, over 53,250 Americans have been wounded, and over 1,500 are now amputees, and nearly 7,000 have been killed in action. The wounds of war, both mental and physical, can stay with our veterans for the rest of their lives. Supporting our veterans as they transition back into their families and in their workplaces and communities is a gift of gratitude that we can all take part in. And so today, we honor and recognize those who serve or have served in the military and sacrificed so much for so many. According to Romans 13:4, those who serve in positions of authority, such as the military and law enforcement personnel, are considered to be God's servants because they operate within their God-given authority to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with their God. They are there to bring peace and justice. As we recognize our veterans, let me share a definition of a veteran that I've heard and I will never forget. Listen very closely. A veteran, whether active duty, retired, or National Guard or Reserve, is someone who at some point in their life wrote a blank check payable to the United States of America for an amount up to and including their life. Let me repeat that again. A veteran, whether active duty, retired, National Guard, or Reserve, is someone who at some point in their life wrote a blank check payable to the United States of America for an amount up to and including their life. Let that sink in as we think about Veterans Day today. Look at the picture on the screen. You'll see uniforms from the Revolutionary War to the modern era. Now that I've given you a definition of a veteran, let me talk about their dedication of duty as the second characteristic of our veterans. As you will see from the pictures on the slide, our military veterans personify the core values of personal courage and service before self. The veterans we honor today come from all walks of life, but they shared several fundamental qualities. Those of us who have a veteran in our family, whether he or she is living or deceased, know that they possessed courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty, and integrity, all the qualities needed to serve a cause larger than oneself. Many of them didn't ask to leave their families or their homes to fight on distant battlefields. Many didn't even volunteer. They didn't go to war because they loved fighting. They were called to be something bigger than themselves. They were ordinary people who responded in extraordinary ways in extreme times. They rose to the nation's call because they wanted to protect a nation which had given them and us so much. Since the first shots at Lexington and Concord were fired, our Revolutionary War began, and American men and women have answered the nation's call to duty. Millions of Americans have fought and died on battlefields here and abroad to defend the freedoms and our way of life. Today, Our troops continue to make the ultimate sacrifice, and even as we face these hardships, young Americans step forward and say, "I'm ready to serve my country." They follow in the footsteps of generations of fine Americans. This is why the words of John 15:13 depict what dedication to duty looks like. And I quote, "Greater love has no one than this, that they lay down their life for their friends." Let us never forget that while veterans have given of themselves, some of them gave all of themselves by making the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. So as we recognize our veterans, let us never forget that freedom is not free. Now that I've explained the dedication to duty of our veterans, let me talk about their determination as a third characteristic. As you will see from the pictures on the slide, our military veterans overcame tremendous obstacles and odds during wartime by their determination to never give up. As a military chaplain, I am constantly reminding our service members of the words of King David found in Psalm 33, verses 16 to 19, which says, "No king is saved by the size of his army, no warrior escapes by his great strength. A horse is a vain hope for deliverance. Despite all its great strength, it cannot save. But the eyes of the Lord are on those who fear him, on those whose hope is in his unfailing love, to deliver them from death and keep them alive in famine." Many veterans can attest that there were times when they saw God's divine providence and protection during their time of military service. This is why Christians serving in the military can be a source of strength and hope to those without faith in God for deliverance. Remember the word of the Lord in Joshua 1:9, spoken to Joshua before the battle. And I quote, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Take a few minutes and look closely at the pictures on the screen. These pictures are from the D-Day amphibious landing on the beaches of Normandy, France, along with the raising of the American flag by the Marines on the island of Iwo Jima. Think hard about these veterans' determination to never give up. When we think about their faith in God and their faith in their just cause, we get a better understanding of what our veterans went through to complete their mission. Also, notice the picture of the kneeling soldier in the bottom right-hand corner. I wonder what he had experienced just before this picture was taken. I wonder what his prayer was that day. I thank God for veterans who are not ashamed to kneel in prayer and put on the full armor of God in the day of battle. Now that I've explained the determination of our veterans, let me briefly discuss decoration as a fourth characteristic of our veterans. As you look at the pictures on this slide, you will notice several presidents presenting the Medal of Honor, which is our nation's highest military medal that is given to those who distinguish themselves by acts of valor. In the top center is a photo of Marine Lance Corporal Kyle Carpenter from Gilbert, South Carolina. In July 2010, Lance Corporal Carpenter deployed to Marja Helmand Province, Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. On November 21, 2010, while joining his team to fight off a Taliban attack on a small village, he suffered severe injuries to his face and right arm from the blast of an enemy hand grenade, including multiple shrapnel wounds and the loss of his right eye. The after-action reports from this incident report that Kyle threw himself on the front of a grenade to protect a fellow Marine. On June 19, 2014, Corporal Carpenter was awarded the Medal of Honor in a ceremony at the White House. Upon separation or retirement from the military, many veterans will receive a shadow box. You'll see one depicted in the upper left-hand corner. This box contains their medals, their decorations in forms of ribbons and medals that they've earned. These depict a portrait of a service member's deployments and accomplishments during their time of service. When I think about the military decorations that our veterans received during their time of service, it reminds me of the words of the Apostle Paul in 2 Timothy 4, verses 7 through 8, when he said the following, and I quote, "I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing." While our military service decorations are of value, they can never compare to the crown of righteousness in eternity that we will receive from the Lord Jesus Christ. We can award medals to service members. We can add their names to monuments and name buildings after them for their bravery, but nothing can compare to knowing that your name is written in the book of life in heaven. Today, as we recognize our nation's veterans, let us remember that there are only two defining forces in this world who have ever offered to die for you. The first was Jesus Christ, who laid down his life so that you would have freedom in eternity. The second was the American service member who died for your freedom here on earth. My prayer as we conclude this service is that each person will thank God for the many blessings that he has bestowed on our nation. As mentioned earlier, Mr. Burnett has ordered the Honored Veteran thank you cards for each Ben Lippen student to write a thank you message to one of America's bravest men and women who has served in the armed forces. You'll see the picture of the card on the front of this slide, as well as the message on the back. Now, there's a line for you to sign your name, list your city and state, and there's about 3 or 4 lines for you to write a personal message. Again, as I stated, what you write on one of these cards could be read in 50 years by someone's grandson or granddaughter. I can tell you that all these cards are going to be sent to deployed military chaplains to give away during the Thanksgiving holidays. So you're writing to an anonymous veteran. It's not someone that you'll know, but God knows who's going to get these cards. Proverbs 25:25 says, "Good news from afar is like cold water to the thirsty." So think carefully about what you're going to write on your card. Again, they'll be randomly distributed, but God knows who's going to get your card. And I would even ask you to pray for the person that gets your card. Imagine how your card is going to bring refreshment to someone who doesn't get mail on a regular basis. Finally, it's been an honor to be with you on this video and just inspire you during this Veterans Day Chapel message. Let us remember these 4 characteristics of what defines a veteran. Let's remember their amazing dedication to duty, their determination, and their decorations. From the soldiers who shivered and starved at the winter in Valley Forge, to the doughboys who created and worked out of the muddy trenches in France, to the platoon who patrolled the hazy jungles of Vietnam, to the young man or woman patrolling the mountains of Afghanistan, we remember all of them, past, present, and future. May God bless our veterans. May God bless America as we strive to live as one nation under God. I hope you enjoy your time in small groups as you further discuss some questions regarding the culture of military life, the unique contributions of military veterans, and the challenges that veterans face today. Ben Lippen, I hope you make it a great day, and I want to thank you in advance for doing your part to honor America's bravest men and women in the U.S. military. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a great discussion with your small groups in your classrooms. Have a great day. God bless.
Dr. Bohlman, thank you so much for sharing in today's chapel, and we wanted to thank you and any other veterans that may be watching just for the countless sacrifices that you have made to ensure the freedoms that we have as a country. So thank you. We really can't even begin to express our gratitude. For our students, we wanted to give you guys 2 practical ways to express your gratitude. One is through the Operation Thank You cards that Dr. Bohlman mentioned. And then second, we're going to conclude chapel by playing the Armed Forces medley. And it's going to walk us through 5 different anthems of our military for the Army, the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Air Force, and then the Marines. And so if you have a family member or a friend that has served in the past in one of those branches or is currently serving, we just ask that during the song that you'd stand as a way to honor them and as a way to wrap up our chapel. So happy Veterans Day. I hope that this chapel has been a blessing to you and prompted gratitude in your life for the freedoms that we experience as a country. Thank you.
Shout, counter marching all about.